Hello again, Holand here. Starting this week and over the next several weeks, I want to talk about the individual characters of Eville, give you an inside look on their creation, some of the inspirations for them, and maybe some interesting trivia that you wouldn't have known just from reading the books. And to kick things off, I decided to start with Serene Necrosia, my mad scientist character. Now, if you were to ask me to describe Serene to someone who was not familiar with the Eville books, I would say take Doc Brown from Back to the Future and cross that with Auntie Mame. And I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what her personality ended up being. Now, the interesting thing about Serene, though, is that of all the main characters, she was the least developed when I first began writing. I already had a very good idea of the personalities for the main characters right from the get-go, but when I first started writing Eville, there were a lot of things that I really wasn't sure about. I knew I wanted to make her very eccentric. There were certain qualities to her personality which were already developed, but I wasn't entirely sure how sinister I wanted her to be, or where she'd be more of a good individual. And so it wasn't until maybe even halfway or two-thirds through the book that I finally decided how it was going to end up, that she was really kind of in between good and bad. She means well, but she operates on her own little system of morality, which doesn't necessarily apply to the rest of the world. And so hopefully, the first time you read Eville, I'd like to think that some folks, there's always a maybe doubt in the back of your mind until later on where you don't really know, what's going to happen. Can she be trusted? Is she going to do something to Alex that's, horrible? And hopefully kind of played with, at least in the back of your mind, just a little bit. Now, the one thing I did know, however, from the very beginning was that my mad scientist had to be a woman. And that's simply because, while I'm sure it's been done before, off the top of my head, I can't think of any female mad scientists. I can think of numerous ones from Dr. Frankenstein, in literature, and you've got comics and, sci-fi movies and B-movies and cartoons, and they're all guys in a lab coat with, wild hair and wild eyes and such. There's never a female. So I wanted to make Eville stand out by having a female mad scientist. And I also thought it would be funny, too, by having an older female character that Alex could play off of, and different ways that she could make him uncomfortable when he's trapped in her mansion. Another thing that took me a little while to develop with Serene was her name, and I put a lot of thought into it. Her first name, Serene, I ended up deciding on because I thought it was funny as a contradiction, because there's nothing serene about her personality at all. She is a ball of nervous energy. She's always, on the edge of something. She'd be a lot of fun to hang out with, probably, have a dinner with, but there would be nothing relaxing about her company. So Serene was a good fit for that. And then Necrosia is simply just a play on words. Necrosis is the death of tissue, living tissues. So switched that around, and I thought that it sounded rather ghoulish. It fit into the the theme of the book, but also it sounded relatively regal, so it might fit as a name that's a family name that's respected and well-to-do, maybe in the Eville universe. So a couple quick ideas of the background of Serene, and stay tuned next week where I will have another character for you. See you then.